Hey everyone, this is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row. Thanks so much for listening to the following broadcast, courtesy of Public House Media.
This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good here on Public House Media. I just want to thank you for listening to the following broadcast, brought to you by Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope that you'll come check out my show, How to Write Good, the writing show that is not about writing. A new show of How to Write Good comes out every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of How to Write Good. Again, thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello, everyone. It is No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and it is probably the craziest one yet. So I have a full bottle of tea because this is so crazy. Like, I have so many things to cover this week, and I can't even get to them all. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try it out. But first, I'm gonna share this so we can have some friends join us for the live broadcast. Like, I don't think more has happened with the Me Too movement than in all this time than it has this week. Like, I think this week is like absolute. Well, between last week and this week, I think it's absolute explosions. Explosions, explosions, explosions. Like, I thought Can was gonna be edit post. Yeah, well, first I need to get my cancel. I just want this to get smaller. That's all I want. That's all I want. Leave page. Fine. Leave it. See if I care. Okay. I think I need to... Hello, David Bobkey. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming to be around. I turned the fan off just for you, just for the audio. Well, I hope it sounds okay. Even though there's a bunch of frogs down there croaking, making a bunch of noise. So if you can hear those, I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about them. Thank you for appreciating my thoughtfulness. I appreciate your appreciation for my thoughtfulness. Let me see here. Okay, I think this will work. I actually, David, considering the things that have happened with Harvey Weinstein today, I thought about making popcorn for this, but then I thought the chewing would be, like, not so good for the podcast version. I don't think people would appreciate that. I don't think it would have the same effect as, the live show. So that sucks, but oh well, whatever. Anyway. Okay, sorry about that. My, tripod for my phone was squeezing that awful Bixby button that Samsung Edge users have. Literally the most useless thing ever. I hate that thing. I need to disable it. It's just awful. Great, now we have to go back through and do everything that we did. What a nightmare. Let's see if this works or not. I can't believe I have to go back. I'm so sorry about that. That's stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Nope, now we have to do it again. Great. Wonderful. That's just great. Alright, false start. Great until it's not is correct. Ugh, the worst. Alright, let's fix this. and then I'm not touching my phone again, ever. It's awful. I have an Edge 7 as well, and it doesn't have this problem. Save. Okay, awesome. And then we're going to do this one more time. Yes, leave the site. That's so annoying when you try to do it from a laptop. Anyway. And then I'm just going to share again so more people come hang out with us. But that Bixby thing is just awful. It's a gigantic pain. There's no help whatsoever. Alright, I'm going to try one more time. And if that doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I'm going to... Hopefully folks will find us, because this is gigantically annoying. Anyway. There has not been more that has happened, in my opinion, on this whole hashtag #MeToo situation between Can and now. Which is kind of a curveball, in my opinion. Asia Argento came out and gave a speech on the closing night, right? Like when she was I think she was presenting Palme d'Or with her and Ava DuVernay, which is the biggest award you can get at Cannes. And arguably one of the biggest biggest awards you can get at any festival in the world as a filmmaker. So there's that. Anyway, there's another thing that I wanted to address before we get into this whole, trilogy at this point that is Harvey Weinstein. This kid, who shot up at his school in Texas, there was a girl who was like, the media is saying that she's a popular girl. Who knows if she actually was or not. They're such liars. That, rejected him and humiliated him, and this girl was, the first on his kill list on his little massacre rampage that he went on. And as usual, but I was really taken aback by this because anytime there's any sort of like romantic relation possibilities between that comes before some sort of conflict, people are always, worry about the situation. But in this particular case, I was just really taken aback by the comments and things that people have posted about how, like, oh, well, she shouldn't have rejected him, and, she wouldn't have been first on the kill list, and it's like, dude, really? Seriously? Like, that's an excuse? To kill somebody is because they rejected you on several occasions, and then you're like, oh, you can just die now? It's really, really horrific, man. Like, if you haven't looked into that specific angle of that massacre, go look into it, and then come back and look at all this other stuff through that lens. And it's really, really eye-opening as to what's been, like, what people have to go through when it comes to getting rid of someone's advances that they don't want. It's just really, really gross. It is absolutely horrifyingly gross. But all of that is being overshadowed by this third leg of the Harvey Weinstein situation. So, at the closing night of Cannes, Asia Argento, when she was presenting Palme d'Or, she gave this speech. And this came right on the heels of 17 ladies walking up the carpet, to symbolize, like, 17 female directors that have ever walked up that carpet. And the reason why it was so significant, beyond the significance of that particular moment, is because it's great that they're, pointing out the whole female director thing in Hollywood. That's wonderful. But the other piece of it is the solidification of a new era in Hollywood where all this, you know, brouhaha and shift and what is appropriate and what's not appropriate, like, when all this first started, when all this news broke with Harvey to the rest of the world, because the rest of us in town didn't know, I was like, okay, well, great. That's wonderful that we're talking about it now, but, like, when is this going to lose favor? And when when are we going to, you know, go back to the regularly scheduled programming? Because at some point the media's going to let loose this. We have jumped that shark, like, and we're still going. So, we're in a new era, folks. Like, officially in a new era in Hollywood. And I think it's going to extend to every other business. Like, certainly in the United States, I think we're going to keep seeing this. Like, all these things have popped up to advance, you know, women in this industry. There's been an onslaught of executives from networks and executives from studios getting fired. There's been lots and lots of turnover, and that's not uncommon, okay? Like, Hollywood's a very ageist place. Like, once you get to about 40 as a creative exec, you're pretty much done. Like, you pretty much get the boot. Maybe 45 if your numbers are banging. But, that's not uncommon here for, you know, changeover, people moving around, blah, 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 blah. But there have been, like, Viacom, for example, owns Paramount and several networks like Nickelodeon, MTV, even more networks than that, like lots and lots of them. And they've had a complete overhaul pretty quietly, because they have some people on their payroll that they can't afford to cover up their crimes anymore. So I did a little tiny, back when I think we touched on Dan Harmon, I talked about that a little bit in an episode a few weeks ago. But the business end of this town is really, really, like, taking action on this whole situation, and we are truly in a new era. So let's talk about this Asia Argento speech. This is from Huffington Post. Asia Argento's fiery speech closes Cannes. I was raped by Harvey Weinstein here, so I'm going to turn this around so you can see it. Seriously, I can't. I said I wasn't going to touch my phone. I did a stupid thing and I touched my phone. Not doing it again. Next week, the show is going from something that's not my phone. I don't care what it is, I just can't eat my phone. Anyway, continuing our conversation for the third time. Asia Argento speech at Cannes. There are a few moments of protest for equal rights at Cannes Film Festival this year, but none quite as fierce as the surprise speech Asia Argento gave at the festival's closing ceremony on Sunday. Before presenting award for Best Actress, Argento said she had something to say. She called Cannes Harvey Weinstein's hunting ground and said he had raped her at the festival in 1997 when she was 21 years old. Festival organizers repeatedly had no idea she was going to make any remarks. Of course they didn't, but they should have. Okay, here's her speech in quotations. I want to make a prediction, she added. Harvey Weinstein will never be welcome here again. He will live in disgrace, shunned by a film community that once embraced him and covered up his crimes. She went on to call out predators she said still work in the film industry and issued a warning. Even tonight, sitting among you, there are those who still have to be held accountable for their conduct against women and men. She should have, there's men that have been hurt in this too. For behavior that does not belong in this industry, does not belong in any industry or workplace. You know who you are, but most importantly, we know who you are, and we're not going to allow you to get away with it any longer, she said. According to Hollywood Reporter, Argento entered to roaring applause, but the audience looked visibly stunned as she made her remarks about Weinstein and Cannes. Yeah, the festival, the Cannes folks are not going to be stoked about that. But it is what it is. She said it. Argento was one of several women who have previously accused Weinstein of rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment. She was one of the earliest to speak out and share her story in Ronan Farrow Pulitzer Prize-winning piece in The New Yorker last year on widespread allegations of Weinstein's predatory behavior. Argento shared her remarks on Twitter with a message for all sexual assault survivors, for all the brave women who came forward denouncing their predators, and for all the brave women who will come forward in the future. We got the power. She tweeted about her speech afterwards. Weinstein has denied having non-consensual sex with anyone. Among criminal investigations into his behavior, Weinstein faces a lawsuit filed by Ashley Judd, who was also one of the first to speak out and allege sexual misconduct against a disgraced film producer. More than 70 women have accused Weinstein of a sexual misconduct ranging from rape to sexual harassment. So that's what Asia Argento had to say, and it has spiraled into a whole other thing, because today he ended up in handcuffs, which is something that I didn't think we would ever see, and I certainly don't think a lot of other people thought that was something that we would see, which is crazy. That they're actually getting traction with this, and we're going somewhere, folks. It's happening. But the situation with Asia Argento is just like, it's. I mean, she hasn't worked in a long time, so it's kind of crazy that she was presenting an award at all at Cannes. Certainly with Ava DuVernay, who is super, super hot right now. She also had this situation in the media happen where she said that, the room was visibly stunned and nobody really said anything to her afterwards, except for Spike Lee came up to her and was like, yeah, fight the power, whatever. And then there was this thing about, like, Ava DuVernay was right there and blah, 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 blah. And, like, when she made that statement, she specifically said afterwards, so I don't think she meant to be like, because Ava was standing on stage with her while they were presenting together, while she was saying her piece, and Ava hugged her, and then they, like, presented the award and got off stage, and they kept it moving. So she specifically said afterwards, like, she didn't say during, like, obviously, like, she knew Ava was there because she was standing there with her. They were sharing a microphone. So I think that was just like a slight of words, not a slight of person. But especially when you're going to just pop off and say something. But anyway, the thing about Cannes, though, and this is why it makes it a really interesting place to have this little speech, is because there are more hoes in Cannes for the festival than anywhere else in the world. They come from all over the place. Any country you can think of sends their hoes to Cannes for the festival. They're running around like squirrels. There is absolutely no reason to need to be doing anything to anyone against their will, because you can certainly pay for it. There's lots of girls, there's lots of guys at Cannes that are just down for whatever so long as they get paid. And it's a real proving ground, we'll play on the words from Hunting Ground, to speak to the fact that rape and sexual assault is about power. It is not about the sex, because the sex in Cannes, let me tell you, is readily available. I've seen it with my own eyes. I love Cannes. Cannes is my jam, okay? It is one of, like, people ask me all the time, because I've been everywhere, what's your favorite place? My favorite place, I think, out of all of it, is Cannes during the festival, because it combines my three favorite things: work, fashion, and yachting. I don't like anything more than I like those three things, and I love them together. So the thought that anybody is bouncing around boats and needs to force themselves on anyone is absolutely lunacy. There was another story that we covered, and the way back of the show, about, what's her face? That little voluptuous redheaded woman, Angie Harmon. Angie Harmon woke up on a yacht with Harvey jerking off over her. And it's like, what? What is your deal, Harvey? And Harvey's deal is that he's got a taste for the famous. It's no fun. Doodle, this is not the time. Hush up. It's showtime. You can't be over there making all that noise. My dogs, they don't do anything all day. They're so lazy. Hush, nudes. And then once it's time for the show, they want to, go get in your house. They want to make a big fuss about stuff. All day, they do nothing except eat and fart on each other. And then during the show, they're like, wait a second, I can make noise. You could give them cotton balls. They find a way to make noise with it. Anyway, Can is a crazy, crazy animal. And God, do I love it. But there's really, like, out of all the places in the world, like, there's no reason to be forcing yourself on anybody. And how can I say this? There are people that go to Cannes to hook and crook. That is absolutely for certain. And there are people, there's like, okay, look at an aerial shot of Cannes, of the marina that's like this, and then the Palais is like up here. The marina's like this. So all of this is lined with big yachts, and then in the middle is the yachts that are too big to be docked. That's how massive they are. And people come from all over the world with crazy, crazy money, descend upon the French Riviera in the spring because it's the circuit to go to. And then they go down to Monaco for the races. But there are absolutely famous name actresses bouncing up and down off of these boats. And, some prince from some Middle Eastern nation will pay, 40 to 60K for a fun evening with an actress that he's seen on TV. That is not uncommon. And in my opinion, especially in international waters, that's no one's business. So if old Harvey is that vile and loathsome that nobody wants to do anything with him, Cannes should really be the place for him with all those hoes running around. But he can't even with the hoes, Harvey? Jeez, striking out much. Good God. So he went away in handcuffs this week. So this is from Yahoo News, out of New York. Movie mogul Harvey Weinstein appeared in handcuffs in a New York court on Friday to face charges of rape and other sex crimes against two of the scores of women who have accused him of misconduct, ending his reign as a Hollywood kingpin. Okay, so I said that I'm not going to touch my phone again, and I'm not, but you yourself, I highly encourage you to go Google this story and look at the face on this smug little bastard as he's coming between the car and the police station. Just go look at his face, and that will tell you everything that you need to know. Weinstein, a 66-year-old co-founder of the Miramax Film Studio and the Weinstein Company, intends to plead not guilty to the charges. His attorney, Benjamin Braffman, told reporters outside the Manhattan courthouse. Prosecutors charged him with 2 counts of rape and 1 count of a criminal sexual act following a months-long investigation with the New York Police Department. They did not identify the 2 women, but said the crimes took place in 2004 and 2013. If convicted on the most serious charges, Weinstein can face between 5 and 25 years in prison. Once they get him in court, this is a plea deal. This is a strategic plea deal by his attorneys are up to something fishy. I don't know exactly what, but something has transpired in his investigation between Cannes and now for him to go turn himself in at the police department, because he's been off and away for quite some time. Weinstein has been accused of sexual misconduct by more than 70 women, with some allegations dating back decades. No surprise there. He is denied ever having non-consensual sex. I think with that many ladies, that's gonna be a hard sell to a judge. The accusations first reported last year by the New York Times and the New Yorker gave rise to the hashtag #MeToo movement, in which hundreds of women have publicly accused powerful men in the business, government, and entertainment of sexual misconduct. The defendant used his position, money, and power to lure young women into situations where he was able to violate them sexually. It wasn't just him. There were agents and managers and publicists and all manners of representation and people around them were also in on this too. It wasn't just him. This was a Hollywood machine game, but we'll get to that later. This defendant used his position. Okay. Prosecutor John Eluzzi said at Weinstein's arraignment on Friday in Manhattan Criminal Court. Weinstein, wearing a dark jacket over a blue sweater and a white open-collared shirt and dark jeans, appeared pale, stood next to Braffman, staring into the middle distance with his mouth ajar while prosecutors described a bail agreement. Ooh, Lord. Judge Kevin McGrath ordered Weinstein to release on $1 million cash bail, and the case was adjourned to July 30th. Ooh, July 30th! Maybe we'll have a special show that day. Maybe we'll live stream the thing. I wonder if we can do that. Weinstein surrendered his U.S. passport and agreed to wear a monitoring device that tracks his location, confining him to the states of New York and Connecticut. Oh, well, he can go to Connecticut. Weinstein earlier turned himself into... Who else gets a 2-state ankle bracelet? Who? If anybody is listening or watching, please send me cases of where someone got to have a monitoring house arrest device that limited them to 2 states and not 1. Weinstein earlier turned himself into at a lower Manhattan police station around 7:25 a.m. He carried thick books under his right arm, including biographies of Broadway musical duo Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein II, and Elia Kazan, the director of A Streetcar Named Desire, and other classic Hollywood films. Really? Out of all of them, A Streetcar Named Desire? Christ almighty, this is ridiculous. About 90 minutes later, Weinstein was led by officers into court in handcuffs, grimacing with his head bowed and his books nowhere in sight. Oh, Lord have mercy. This is just out of control. Speaking to reporters after the hearing, Braffman signaled he would defend Weinstein by undermining the credibility of his client's accusers. He didn't need to make a statement on that. We all know what the game is. That's how they do it. That's how criminal defense attorneys do things. They undermine like prosecution in general, I guess you would say. They're like, oh, the prosecution did not provide sufficient evidence, or we don't know, or blah, 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 we don't know beyond a reasonable doubt. That's defense number 1. Defense number 2 is they're probably going to drag out this $600,000 in dossiers that they have on these different people, that they got from that Mossad and the former KGB officers that they hired to undercover do stuff, which was a show previously. Gosh, this is becoming a recap show, and I didn't even plan it that way. A jury would not believe the woman, Braffman said, assuming we get 12 fair people who are not consumed by the movement that seems to have overtaken this case. Good luck with that. Surreal. Actress Rose McGowan, among the first to accuse Weinstein of sexual assault, said seeing images of him in handcuffs was surreal. I actually did not believe this day would come. Neither did I, for that matter. She said on NBC's Megyn Kelly Today program, this is a big strike into the heart of abuse of power. Yeah, it is. I didn't think... if you would have told me even yesterday that this day was coming, I would have been like, nah, he'll figure something out. Apparently not. After the accusations became public, entertainment industry heavyweights distanced themselves from Weinstein's distance was an understatement. The Weinstein Company's board fired him, and the company filed for bankruptcy in March. They still don't have a sale, by the way. In 2017, Weinstein was expelled from the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts and Sciences. Literally no one cares about that. I don't know why they're making such, oh my god, he can't vote in the Academy anymore. Who cares? That's neither here nor there. He had racked up Oscars for... He also got kicked out of PGA, but that doesn't do anything. He racked up Oscars for a string of films that helped define independent cinema in the 90s, including Shakespeare in Love and Pulp Fiction. Yeah, whatever. I don't really know what cares. I have the things to care about. That's not the thing to care about. Weinstein was a fixture of elite Manhattan and Los Angeles society until his accusers came forward. I think that's... For LA, yes. I think for Manhattan, that's a bit of a stretch. He sought treatment for sex addiction at a facility in Scottsdale, Arizona, in the New York Times. That's where he's been hiding out for a long time, is Arizona. London's Metropolitan Police Department and Los Angeles prosecutors have said that they are reviewing accusations of sexual assault against him. Braffman said in a May court filing that federal prosecutors in Newark had opened a separate criminal investigation into the allegations. Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. had been under pressure over his 2015 decision not to pursue a complaint by model Ambra Batalana Gutierrez, who said Weinstein had groped her without her consent. Vance made the decision even though he had a covert police recording of Weinstein telling Gutierrez he would not do it again, and he still didn't pursue it. Whoo, buddy! And he got to keep his job. He might not after all this. The district attorney said his decision was based on merits of the case. They're backing him. How interesting. Last month, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo wrote a letter ordering the state attorney general to investigate how Vance and the NYPD handled sexual assault allegations, including the 2015 allegations against Weinstein. The New York charges mark the second high-profile prosecution of a once powerful show business personality in the #MeToo era. A month ago, Bill Cosby was convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting a one-time friend, one of dozens of women who accused the comedian and former TV star of sexual misconduct. How do we get on Cosby from... This is ridiculous. This is run on. Cosby's convictions followed a mistrial last year on the same charges. In the retrial, the judge allowed 5 other accusers to tell similar stories of alleged abuse at his hands. It was unclear whether New York prosecutors would seek to have other Weinstein accusers testify against him. That's exactly what's going to happen. If they don't get Rose McGowan and Asia Argento and, I don't know, a list of 70 other chicks, they're out of their minds. If this ends up like anything like the Dr. Nassar case in Michigan, this is going to take forever and a day. Other actresses who have publicly accused Weinstein of sexual misconduct include Uma Thurman and Salma Hayek. Woo! But the bottom line is old Harvey's in cuffs, and that is not something that we would see happen. If Asia Argento did not put the nail in the coffin of this whole situation, a nail in the coffin of the old era, this certainly will, because even if somehow they can manage to get this dropped on him, there's going to be more chicks that will come, and he'll never be, like, nobody in Hollywood can touch him ever again. He's too grimy at this point. So he'll be out of the business anyway. He's just trying to stay out of jail at this point. Any hoozles. I said that to say this. In another Weinstein connection, I've known this guy for years, and I haven't covered the gay angle on this show yet, and we're doing it today. And here's why. This is from Deadline Hollywood. Entertainment attorney Benjamin Adams pleads no contest to lewd conduct with a 14-year-old boy. Benjamin Lawson Adams was an entertainment attorney and former director of business and legal affairs at the Weinstein Company. Surprise, surprise. Has pleaded no contest to one count of lewd or lascivious conduct with a 14-year-old boy. Adams, 32, was arrested in May 2016 and charged with 9 felony counts, including oral copulation, sexual penetration, and sodomy with a minor under the age of 16. The victim, now a 16-year-old transgender girl, said they met on Instagram and had sex at Adams' West Los Angeles apartment and on 2 occasions under the Manhattan Beach Pier. After his arrest, Manhattan Beach police say it was believed Adams used his title of entertainment lawyer to attract his victim's interest. I think that's kind of a stretch. I don't know that many entertainment attorneys are getting it for the It's like, maybe like if you need a contract handle or something like that, but all the entertainment attorneys I know, their DMs are quite dry. So I don't think that's the case for him. Adams was an attorney for MGM at the time of his arrest and later sued the studio, claiming he was wrongly terminated after the news accounts of his arrest surfaced. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge later dismissed the suit and ordered Adams to pay the studio $227,400 in attorney fees. Lord have mercy, that's a lot. Currently free on $200,000 bail, Adams has been ordered to surrender May 16th and will have probation and sentencing hearing August 15th. Well. Okay, well, here's the thing. I've known this guy for years. A lot of what he did at Weinstein was like, making sure all their stuff was like pretty well buttoned up tight. For example, when they did Lee Daniels the Butler a couple years ago, they couldn't call it The Butler because that was a film in 1932 and you can't step on other people's stuff like that. So that's why it ended up being called Lee Daniels the Butler. So he was in charge of stuff like that. He also helped me pick out a shirt at Topshop that I still wear to this day. It is... The reason I talked about this case in particular is because these people are everywhere in this town. They're everywhere, and we're slowly ejecting them to this new era or of people who are about their business and about their art and actually have some sort of integrity, which will hopefully come across on screen. That's what I'm really, really hoping for. Because you can be just as good as, at making film and making television and making music videos or whatever else, or music in general, or I don't care what you do, so long as you do it. Fashion as well, you can be just as good at those things without hurting people. It is not necessary to hurt people to be good at this stuff. So we are one by one ejecting people out of this business. But first of all, I wanted to cover something that we're talking about, girls, and it happens to guys too. And it's not right, and they get overlooked, and that's not right either. And how close it is. Like, we knew this guy, casually, but we knew him for years. Like, oh, hey man, what's up? Like, he helped me pick out, my chambray shirt at Topshop at the Grove. Like, these people are all over the place in this town, and it's got to stop. It is so rampant and so gross and so disgusting. It's got to go. It's got to go. It's got to go. It's got to go. There's really no excuse for this kind of behavior. Like, we have to get around this. So, happy new era in Hollywood, folks. And then hopefully this will extend to every other industry and, and hopefully America, if not the world. Because we have a new generation of people that are not trying to behave this way. That want to be, about their business and be able to, sleep at night and not hurt people. Which is great. There's no need to hurt somebody. I don't see how that needs to be a part of business or life at all, to repeatedly try to hurt people. So, with that being said, that is the end of #NoFilterFriday. On this Friday, God only knows what's going to happen in the next week. I was thinking about doing some stuff on Morgan Freeman, but I think it's just too early to tell. So depending on what happens between now and next Friday, maybe Morgan Freeman will be next week, or maybe we'll have more Harvey stuff because he's, overtaking the situation as per the usual. So who knows? But a lot of people were very happy to see him in handcuffs today, if anything, because none of us anticipated that. It is a new era, folks. It's a new era. So thanks for coming by. #NoFilterFriday in Public House Media. The podcast is available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Google Play, and a few other places now. I need to get an update on, because I think it might be going to Spotify and some like other stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not good at that. I'm not a big podcast person, even though I have one. And if you are a podcast listener, subscribe, give a rating, leave a comment, leave a review, all that good stuff, and check out other shows on Public House Media, because they're way more fun than mine. This is some really, downtrodden stuff. But check out Coffee with Keith and Katie and Choose to Rise and Sunday Spotlight, and there's some sports shows and things like that. Check those out. There's some other way lighter-hearted, entertainment shows that talk about movies and TV and stuff like that. So see you later, kids. Thanks for coming by.